Hey gang, welcome back to Gabriel Knight. Let's see. First thing I want to do is, I noticed that I still hadn't returned the badge, so I think I'm going to do that because I still feel quite bad about having stolen his badge. You know, I don't know, maybe I just don't feel right taking someone's badge. Otherwise, like I said, I checked to see if, you know, I missed something with Malia. Like, I missed something huge by not running down the top.
Hey, bud.
You! Oh.
Last time I looked.
Give me my badge right now.
Oh, is that why you're so excited? If you knew what I needed it for.
I'm sure it was to impress a woman. You could have asked. You know how embarrassing it is to admit your badge was stolen? I had a photo with the chief, and he wanted me wearing it. I should lock you up, Knight.
I suppose you could. Seems to me, though, there was that time you borrowed my bike without mentioning it. Right from in front of my shop.
Yeah, don't remind me. Just don't do it again.
Okay, I will not.
Whew, it's hot in here.
Oh, did I still not turn down the...
Dang, the air conditioning must be on the blink.
Yeah, I'm sure someone would have decided...
Are you hot? Man,
decided to turn down that air conditioning by now. Well, I didn't get any points for that. I'm not supposed to keep the badge, am I?
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
No, the coffee is gone, so... I hope I wasn't supposed to keep that badge. Let me know if I was supposed to keep that badge. Because I guess I can't get it now. Oh, he just took it off, but now he just put it on? Anyway,
Well, I'll be seeing you.
Ciao, baby.
like I said, you know, I went back through Malia's little thing to see what I missed. Since, you know, flirting with her seems to kick you out. She just said, you know, if I'm so interested about voodoo, I should go to the museum, which I was planning to go next anyway, so let's do that.
Welcome, my friend.
Wow.
Hello.
I am the proprietor, Dr. John. If you have any questions, I will be happy to assist.
Great. My name is Knight, and I'll probably take you up on that.
I think that voice acting is pretty good. I don't know why... I don't understand his clothes, though. It's like a disco suit or something. He kind of looks like, you know, he's trying to use Leisure Suit Larry's fashion sense, which is kind of goofy. Let's talk.
This is quite a place you have here.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. I have dedicated myself to the preservation of this unique culture. It is gratifying to see others reap the fruits I have sown.
Oh yeah, I got a comment from way back. I should, turn on this fan or something? It's probably this, right?
Turn that thing off.
Oh.
Oh, sorry.
We have air con...
Yeah, I see.
Well, that snake's sure to not like that turn of events. Alright. So...
Could I ask you some questions?
That is why I am here.
Oh, let's see. Voodoo.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Historical voodoo? Or the voodoo currently practiced in the city?
I don't know.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Historical...
I didn't know there was a difference.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The killings in the newspaper? I know that they have nothing to do with true voodoo in New Orleans.
That's a pretty bold thing to say.
What makes you think the voodoo murders aren't being done by local practitioners?
Yeah, that was sort of my
Voodoo
thought.
is a popular boogeyman, Mr. Knight, especially in New Orleans. Anyone can pretend to use it, just as anyone can pretend to be a black belt in karate, and for the same reason, to intimidate. I know voodoo in this city, Mr. Knight, and believe me, it is not about killing. Even the police have stated that the killings have nothing to do with local voodoo.
What, did he get his doctorate in voodoo or something?
So you know nothing about the voodoo murders case?
I neither know nor care to know, Mr. Knight. My only possible interest is in how it might affect the public's attitude towards the museum. So far, it has not been an issue. No one has even had the bad taste to bring it up. Until you, that is.
Oh, sorry.
So you know nothing about the voodoo murders case?
I neither know nor care to.
Okay.
So
Excuse me. New Orleans.
What do you think of New Orleans?
it is the only city in the United States as far as I am concerned.
Why do you say that?
What is it about New Orleans that you so admire?
It has a real culture of its own, Mr. Knight, amid the horrid blandness that is Americana. New Orleans alone has a voice.
Spoken like a true New Orleanian.
I guess. This guy seems kind of delusional.
Do you have anything else to say about New Orleans?
I have already given you my opinion, Mr. Knight.
Snakes.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Ah, you have perhaps noticed the museum's snake, Mr. Knight. They are beautiful creatures, do you not agree? And the tourists seem to associate them with voodoo.
Okay. I actually did not notice the snake until that little fan thing.
Is the snake yours? Do you use it in your practice of voodoo?
I admire the spirit of the snake, Mr. Knight, but snakes like the museums can be quite dangerous to handle.
You didn't really answer my question.
I think I did, Mr. Knight.
It's a little... He's a little weird here.
I'd really like to know more about your snake.
There is really nothing more to say, Mr. Knight.
Really?
I...
Okay. What about St. John's Eve?
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It is one of the important ceremonial nights in voodoo.
Okay.
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I am afraid I do not know the origins of St. John's Eve. I only know that it was a night of ritual long before voodoo came to New Orleans.
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I am...
Alright. What about Cabri Saint-Cure?
Do you have any idea what Cabri Saint-Cure means?
I fear my French is not all it should be, Mr. Knight.
You're sure you haven't heard the term Cabri Saint-Cure?
I am sure, Mr. Knight.
You're...
Alright. Schottenjäger.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
No, I have not.
Have you ever...
Alright. What about yourself?
Tell me about yourself.
Me?
Yes, if you don't mind.
What is it you wish to learn?
Why did you open a voodoo museum?
The subject has fascinated me all my life, and I wanted to help preserve the cultural heritage it represents.
What about this?
What kind of background in voodoo do you have?
Well, he is a doctor.
Let us say that I cut my teeth on it, Mr. Knight. It is in my blood.
Yeah. Like, so far he's seeming pretty delusional and kind of cultish. So that's not cool.
Do you do anything besides run the museum?
No. The museum does not make me a rich man, but my material needs are simple. I prefer to focus on my one true interest in life.
Or, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that, but something odd about him.
What are your own religious beliefs?
My beliefs are too personal and too complex to discuss with a layman, Mr. Knight.
Just tell me anything.
I am originally from the West Indies myself, you know.
Really? What brought you to New Orleans?
I was drawn here for personal reasons.
One more.
Just tell me anything.
I am a vegetarian.
Really? I can't imagine living without meat.
That must be the hunter in you, Mr. Knight.
Alright. Actually, one more.
Just...
I do not...
Alright. He doesn't want to talk to me anymore.
Actually...
Then,
Let's see. Okay, what's historical voodoo?
Tell me about historical voodoo.
very well. I will start at the beginning, Mr. Knight, and will go on from there at your prompting.
Sounds good.
As you may know, Voodoo is a grassroots religion formed by the mixing together of many different African tribal religions and Anglo religions, such as Catholicism or Protestantism.
Okay.
In other words, it is a religion born of the African slave trade. But African slaves were imported not only by the United States, but also into the West Indies, where the French and Spanish ran plantation islands. Prior to 1803, the New Orleans area was owned by France. The French Creole in those days owned many African slaves. But the Creole did not permit their slaves to gather, giving no chance for voodoo to breed here natively. The Creole also knew enough about the corrupted pagan practices of the West Indies slaves to ban the importing of slaves from that region.
I mean, that was certainly a lot of history, but I'm... like, nothing's really connecting from what he just said. I'll ask again.
So, how did voodoo come to New Orleans?
After the Louisiana Purchase, American legislators relaxed regulations. Slaves were permitted to gather. The Americans also removed the ban on West Indies slaves. Around the same time, a slave revolt occurred in Santo Domingo, what is now Haiti. Between the lifting of the ban and the Haitian revolt, West Indies slaves began pouring into New Orleans. Some of them were free people of color, freed or escaped slaves. Some came with their white owners who were fleeing from the revolt.
Quite a history lesson here.
What happened when the West Indies slaves got here?
They brought voodoo with them. The native slaves were more than enthusiastic about embracing it. It gave them power, Mr. Knight, if only in the form of a communal bond. Among the first meeting places were the Bayou Saint John and the shore of Lake Pontchartrain.
Well, I've been there before.
The early voodoos were heavy snake worshippers, worshipping the one they called the Great Zombie.
Okay, so here's what I'm gathering. Historically, you know, voodoo was, you know, sort of a, what would you say, like a slave religion, but, you know, now that there's, now there's no more slavery, but people seem to still practice it as some sort of, remembrance ritual, or at least that's what I'm getting from him. I don't know if I'm saying that the way I want to say it, but that's sort of what I'm getting, although he seems to believe that, you know, there's a lot of power involved in current voodoo, which is making me not feel very, very comfortable.
Tell me about current voodoo.
Many people think of voodoo in terms of magic spells or gree-gree. That kind of practice is actually called hoodoo, and is only a part of true voodoo. Voodoo, the religion, has a strong following in New Orleans. In fact, it is growing quite rapidly. There are several voodoo churches or temples in the city, and others all across the United States. African Americans see it as a tradition all their own. Whites, and there are many in their religion, are attracted to it because they think it is exotic. I, personally, am more interested in the history of voodoo.
Okay.
Some of the new movements are copying Haitian or even African voodoo. But it is the voodoo of New Orleans that I find so intriguing.
Okay, so what he's saying, I see, is that current voodoo is sort of like, oh, I guess well, I was trying to make an allegory, but I guess the point is that current voodoo is just baubles and tricks and, you know, little voodoo dolls and little pouches and stuff that, you know, doesn't, you know, he feels is kind of, not really what voodoo is. He believes that voodoo is a much stronger belief than what people believe voodoo is. So that's interesting.
Tell me more about current voodoo.
There are many voodooians in New Orleans. They often do business selling gree-gree, telling fortunes, providing luck, and occasionally misfortune. Perhaps you would like to meet a voodooian. We refer those who seek a deeper experience with voodoo to a local practitioner, Magenta Moonbeam.
Sure, I'd love to meet her.
She lives on the corner of Orleans and Dauphine. I will call her and tell her you might stop by.
Great, thanks.
Oh, got some points out of that.
Tell me more about...
You have tapped my resources.
Alright. He just said that he didn't have any more to say.
Tell me more about...
By 1817,
No, excuse me.
the voodoo activities were beginning to cause fear among the white slaveholders. An ordinance was passed to forbid slave gatherings except in designated public areas at designated times. The time was Sunday afternoons and the place Congo Square. The slaves and free people of color gathered to dance simulations of their voodoo dances right in sight of Creole society. Of course, they also continued to meet in private for the real thing.
Yeah, he definitely believes in the big, grander scale of this religion. Or what, his belief.
Tell me more about his...
There were a variety of kings and queens at first, voodoo priests and priestesses. But from about 1830, a single power emerged. This was a voodoo queen named Marie Laveau.
Oh.
Marie Laveau ruled voodoo in New Orleans for many years.
Yeah, that name was on the tomb. Marie Laveau. Okay.
Tell me more about...
I've given...
Alright. Let's talk about Malia.
Do you know Malia Getty?
Should I?
She referred me to your museum.
Many have read about our museum in the newspapers, Mr. Knight.
That's a good point.
My mistake. This save is, I think, with that question in mind where, you know, she said, just go to this place. But in the Let's Play, I guess that didn't happen, but sorry.
Are you sure you don't know Malia Getty?
Quite sure, Mr. Knight.
Are you...
Alright, what about hoodoo?
Is there anything else I should know about hoodoo?
Not if your interest is primarily in voodoo. Hoodoo is of interest to those who study rural folk traditions, but it will not aid you in understanding true voodoo.
Is there anything else?
Not if you're interested.
Okay. Oh wow, that was way too long. I didn't expect him to talk so much. Though, I do have some places to visit. I'm gonna go back to the tomb first.
I'll be going.
Walk carefully out there, Mr. Knight.
And then there was a new place. Oh, I guess that's this. I'm gonna go to the cemetery first. Anything new about... Because this is the tomb of Marie Lavoie, right? Look. Yeah. But I already have the sketch, so... Alright. Let's go to a new place. Moonbeam Residence. Oh.
Welcome, Seeker. You must be the one Dr. John called me about.
I guess so. My name is...
Wait? Gabriel Knight?
You're too quick for me.
Actually, Dr. John told me. You have come to the right place, Mr. Knight. Tell me how I can help.
Okay, so... Madame Mushka again. Although this Madame Mushka seems a little blonder than the last one, but... I tell you, I'm gonna keep calling them Madame Mushkas as long as I see, you know, some sort of fortune teller with a... What would you call it? A crystal ball, so... It's gonna keep happening.
Dr. John tells me you're a voodoo practitioner of some kind.
Yes, I am a voodoo yen, a voodoo priestess.
Okay. Well, let's question.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Of course, Seeker.
And sorry, you might have heard my phone ring. It was not important.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
My practice is mainly selling charms and potions with magic power, such as gree-gree and voodoo oils. You know, everything from unrequited love to wandering spouses to winning a lawsuit. But my spells and charms are powerful, and they work.
What can you tell me about...
Much of a voodoo yen's work is protecting her clients from the spell of others. I make special protective gree-gree to be worn in secret. They keep evil spells from working against my clients.
Okay, so this is the sort of voodoo that Dr. John would say is hokey, if you will.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Why, that has nothing to do with me and my clientele. But I can tell you that you should stay as far from it as possible. There is badness there. Very bad.
Is there more of this?
What can you...
The recipes for voodoo charms have been handed down from master to apprentice for centuries.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I have told you all...
Alright.
So you don't think the voodoo aspects of the case are fake?
Fake? Let me tell you about fake. If I get information through the grapevine and make use of it, is that fake? No, that is part of a voodoo yen's power. If people don't believe, there is not much I can do. But if they do believe, that is a part of my power too. But there are things, monsieur, things not even a little bit fake, I can tell you. Believe it or not, but stay away from it.
Okay. More?
What do you mean? Do you know something about the case?
I work hard on fine-tuning my spiritual antenna, Monsieur Knight, and I get a clear signal from that direction. Beware.
She seems a little paranoid.
What do you mean?
I work
Okay.
hard.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans is the center of voodoo practice in the United States.
Okay.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
It is a fascinating city with many dark secrets.
What can you tell me?
It is my favorite place in the world.
Okay, you don't seem...
What can...
It is
Alright. Let's talk about snakes.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? You mean like my beloved Grimwald? She's a python, you know. Quite deadly in the wrong hands.
Hmm.
I was trained by one of the great voodoo queens, to learn how to hypnotize and handle snakes.
Tell me more about snakes.
Oh, I wouldn't want to give away my trade secrets.
Trade secrets? Come on.
Tell me,
Oh, I
Alright.
would...
Let's talk about St. John's Eve.
what's the significance of St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? It is the greatest night of the voodoo year. There is always a traditional conclave on St. John's Eve. Most of our voodoo churches these days hold functions in the church hall. But in the old days, they had ceremonies out in the wild, and they wore animal masks and had a huge bonfire and dancing. I used to go when I was an apprentice. Sometimes in the swamp, you know, Bayou St. John. Sometimes at the lake, Lake Pontchartrain.
Let's see, so I guess I'm gonna find some sort of, some gathering at that lake at some point.
What's the significance?
Special ceremonies are performed, and the Loa come to ride the faithful.
Do you have any idea
Oops.
what Caprice Saint Coeur means?
No. No, I don't.
She seemed a little unsure about that answer. I want to know more about St. John's Eve, though.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
There is no night more powerful to voodoo magic.
What's the significance?
There is...
Okay.
Do you have any idea?
Okay, she doesn't know about that. Marie Laveau.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Oh, yes. She was the first of the great voodoo queens.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
She ruled voodoo in New Orleans for 100 years, they say.
Do you know anything about...
I'm sure a historian could help you with that, if you want to know more.
Oh, I'm probably gonna have to go back to, historian. I'm thinking Dr. John, but I was just there. But, oh well. Animal masks.
Tell me about the animal masks.
I saw them used once or twice when I was younger, but you don't see them much anymore. They are too close.
Too close to what?
Just bad karma.
She's not telling me everything she could.
Tell me about the animal masks.
I don't know what else to say about that.
Have you ever heard the word Schottenjäger?
I don't know anything about that.
Let's try that again.
Have you ever...
I don't...
Okay. Herself.
Tell me about...
Yeah?
How'd you get into this business?
How'd you get into this business?
I trained in the voodoo arts for many years with the great Queen Tabitha.
Really? Who's she?
You have never heard of her? For shame! I can see you know little of the world of magic.
I'm beginning to get that impression, yes.
Okay.
What kind of people come to see you?
Seekers after the truth, such as yourself.
Blah, blah, blah. What do you got?
Do you do anything else?
I am a voodoo yen, and that is plenty. It takes much spiritual effort.
How many voodoo yens are there?
No one knows exactly. Many practice in secret. There are probably hundreds. But of course the level and the power of the voodoo yens differ greatly, depending on their training and natural gifts.
I don't know. I just don't think that Madame Mushka here has much voodoo power here.
Tell me anything at all.
I haven't always lived in New Orleans. I came here from Kansas as a young woman.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who weren't originally from here.
Tell me anything at all.
I began studying voodoo more than 20 years ago. I am well versed in the magical art.
One more.
Tell me anything at all.
Many non-believers come to me. They are usually believers when they leave.
I'm not one,
Tell me anything at all.
frankly.
Dr. John sends me many seekers such as yourself.
One more.
Tell me...
I am happy here.
Alright.
There
Grimwald. What is Grimwald?
About Grimwald.
What about her?
Oh, the snake.
Where'd you get Grimwald?
She belonged to a traveling reptile show. She was being terribly mistreated, so I offered to buy her. She's named after a spirit guide I had once. The spirit Grimwald was a very powerful female snake priestess in Egyptian times.
Grimwald doesn't sound Egyptian.
No, it sounds
I
more
only
German.
know what the spirits tell me. Monsieur, I am sure they know better than we.
The name sounds more German, but whatever.
How'd you learn to handle Grimwald?
I told you a great voodoo queen taught me. She learned from Marie Laveau herself.
Ah, fascinating.
Scales?
Would you consider giving me one of Grimwald's scales?
No, I couldn't do that. You might do some gree-gree of your own, no? One must be very careful with such things. Hair clippings, nail parings, and snake scale.
Are you sure you wouldn't consider giving me one of Grimwald's scales?
I told you I couldn't do that.
Alright. The thing here didn't go away, so that's odd.
How about showing me how you handle Grimwald?
Really? You would like to see me dance, perhaps?
That would be swell.
I won't make you wait, Monsieur Knight.
Alright, dance time.
No matter what you see, do not be frightened.
I'll give it my best shot.
Alright, Madame Mushka, let's see what you can do. Wow. You're pretty good handling that snake, Madame Mushka. I don't know, I could say a lot of bad things that I'm choosing to refrain from. But, yeah, that's a pretty big snake she's handling. Oh, she's also dancing. I guess I should talk about that. Or not, because she's done.
There. Truly inspiring, isn't it?
That's certainly one word for it.
Oh, shoot, it's been so long, but may as well finish up here.
Could I ask you a few more?
Certainly. What about...
Let's see, I don't want to see the dance again, so...
Tell me.
You have to be careful when handling a snake. They're more delicate than they look.
I'll bet. Tell me anything.
Many people are afraid...
Toad.
Yeah. People are afraid of snakes.
Tell me.
Snakes shed their skins from...
I'll keep...
They shed their skin.
Nothing.
Oh.
What about Gree-Gree?
Give me an example of a gris-gris.
All right. Here's an old one. Take a lodestone and some brimstone to a crossroads at midnight. Light the brimstone with a match, and a spirit will come and give you advice in gambling.
Give me an example of a gris-gris.
Here's an old hoodoo Dr. Gree-Gree. Place a dime under your client's tongue, and if the client is under a spell of any kind, the dime will turn black.
I wonder if any of these are going to be useful later.
Give me an example of...
To send someone away, take a rotten egg and write that person's name on it 9 times. You can also write on it where you want to send that person to. Take it and throw it against his door at midnight.
Give me an example...
Here's a nasty one. To kill someone, get a sock or a shoe that belongs to that person. Put graveyard dirt in it and bury it under their front steps.
Does that work?
I don't know. I never tried it.
Lame.
Give me...
To ensure the safety of your child, cut a lock of its hair while it is still a baby and keep it with you. The child must have all its hair before it can die.
These are interesting.
They're very old. The gree-gree that I prepare is much more powerful, I can assure you, but I don't give out those secrets.
Give me an example.
All right.
Alright, I was trying to get points, but, well, wow, I would have... See, this is one of those things, like, if it wasn't for the fact that I was playing blind, I would have avoided talking to these two people in the same episode because they talk so much. So I'm really sorry about how this episode really had nothing to do except talk. But since it's out of the way, hopefully there will be a lot more excitement in the next episode. So next episode I'm going to look around here since I didn't really look around. Madame Mushka and a snake. So yeah, sorry for all the talky in this one, but I'll see you in the next episode, and thanks for watching.